Hello, everybody. My name is Dr. Surush Azizi, and today I want to talk about Python programming. Today, I'm going to start with Python lesson one, the basic. Python is a super powerful programming language that you can do many things on it. You can use Python for data science, data analytics, statistical analysis, and even artificial intelligence or web development and different things. So it's a multi-purpose language. Now, we're going to start from the very basic. The very first step to learn Python is to install Python software on your laptop. The good part, one of the best parts is that it's free. You can just download that for free. There are multiple ways to download Python, multiple distributor. The best one that I'm really happy with is from Anaconda distribution. So all you gotta do is to just go to this website, anaconda.com/download, and go to this web page. When you get to this web page, if you have PC, all you got to do is to just click on download. If you have Mac, when you click on this bottom, you are going to be given two options: download for Mac Intel, download for Mac M1, M2, M3. You must click on the appropriate version for you. So if you're not 100% sure which one is the version of your Mac, you can always click on this Apple sign and click on about this Mac, and then the processor is written there. For example, mine is Intel Core i7, so it's Intel. I'm going to close this, and then I'm going to click on download for Mac Intel. You must click on the appropriate version for yourself. The file is around 1 GB, so it's gonna take maybe a minute or something to download. In the meanwhile, I want to talk about the importance of Python programming language. Python is such a powerful language that people use Python for many different things. For example, if you Google this, most common programming languages for AI, for artificial intelligence, this is the answer that Google gives you. Python is a leading programming language for AI development because of its flexibility, simplicity, and community support. It's also a good starting point for beginners. So, as you're going to see, it's really easy to get started with Python. Super easy. You don't need any programming language background. Yes, you can start from beginning. If Python is the very first program that you're learning, it's absolutely fine. It's a great place to start. Python has data visualization and analytics capabilities and is used as the general purpose programming language for AI development. It's not specific to one area. It's a general purpose programming language. Also, for example, if you Google this, most common programming languages for data science, and then go to maybe the very first website that shows up right now for me is this, uh, top 12 data science programming languages, and you click on that, the very first one that is going to come up is Python. Yes, and you can see it right here. It's also very common so number one is Python. Now, the download is finished. It's also good for like data analytics, different things. Now, the download is finished. All you gotta do is to go to your download folder. And here is gonna be like a PKG file on Mac. On Windows, it's a exe file. Now we have to double click on this. And when you double click on this, so for me, since I do have Python on my laptop already, I'm not gonna install it again. But when you wanna do this, all you gotta do is to just click on hello and then continue, next, yes, install, something like that. Go with all the defaults version. Don't change anything. Just go on with all the default version. It might take like something like 15 minutes, 20 minutes for you to install. I'm gonna say cancel, but you got to say hello if this is the first time you're installing Python on your laptop. And now when it's finished, most likely you're gonna see, so I'm gonna show you, for example, it's gonna be something like I'm exiting my so when it's finished, you want to open up your Python Anaconda. First of all, we don't need that exe file that you have it on your download folder. You can delete that exe file or the file that you downloaded from internet. It was good only for the first time. From now on, if you want to use Anaconda, so first delete that exe file now that you installed the Python, then just search this Anaconda on your laptop and then something like this. There is a green circle by it and then click on it. It's going to take maybe a few seconds to open up. So as you can see, it's running this green circle, and then you're going to see a page like this. So these are all IDEs, different interfaces that we can use. Two of them are very most commonly used. One of them is called Jupyter, and another one that we are going to use is called Spider. Spider is powerful Python IDE that we're going to use in this course. Click on launch, and it's going to take a few seconds for you to have this. And then you're going to see something like this. Most likely, if this is the first time you're using Python, Python wants to give you a tour. Spider wants to give you a tour. Yes. So it's a great idea. Just take the tour, get familiar with the different parts of Spider, but also we are going to talk about different things here as well. Now, this is the place that we are going to write the program. So your file is most likely is not going to be like this. Yes. So your file is going to be something, if this is the first time you're using, it's going to be like this. Now, this is called script. This place is script. This is where you can just type different things and run different programs. When you run each program, the result is going to be here, right here in the console. So left side is called the script, right side, bottom right is called console, and then on the top right, we have like 5 different tabs. Variable Explorer is the default. We have plots, files, code analysis, and help. Different things that you can do in Python, but just remember this, we always type our codes usually like in script, and then when we run them, when we execute them, they're gonna be right here. They're gonna be executed on the console. Okay, now if you want to open a new tab, you can just go to File. So first of all, play with these tabs, get familiar with them. But 2 options are very important. Yes, or 3 options are very important. New file, open, and save. So if you want to open up, you already have a file and you want to open up, you just click on this open, and then you can, for example, go to that file that you want to open up. Yes. For example, I want to open up this file, and all I gotta do is to click on that. That's it. Yes. So this is the way you open up. You already have a file somewhere and you just open it up with clicking on open. At the end, if you, for example, make any changes and you want to save them, for example, here I add something and I want to save it, you can just click on this button. Yes, and you can save it. You can also save as and different things that we have. Now, so this is the file that we want to get started with. In this session, so far what we did, we learned about the importance of Python. We learned how to download Python from anaconda.com. We installed Python with running the double clicking that exe file. After that, we deleted the exe file. We opened up Anaconda. From Anaconda, we opened up Spider, and this is the file that we are at. Yes, hopefully you have access to this file, and we are gonna learn coding with this file. Yes. Okay, let's get started. In this session, I want to start with the very basic introduction to Python and then lists, dictionaries, booleans, tuples, sets, conditional statements, for and while loops, functions, lambda, maps, filter, methods. And along the way, we have many questions that I urge you to solve them. So first of all, whenever you see this hashtag, that means it's a file. Yes. First of all, in Python, you can always use, like, let's say on Mac with Command A, you can select everything. Yes. With Command C, you can copy everything. And then, for example, if you want to paste them somewhere else, you can just easily do this. Yes. You can, with Command P, with Command, sorry, V, you can paste them. On Windows, it's just rather than Command, it's Control button. So same like buttons that works in always, it works on Python. And so I have something like this. And when you want to save it one more time, you just click on this save button, save file, and then you save it with the name that you're interested. Yes, for example, I want to call this Python lesson 1, and then we can't have colon. If you just type colon, it automatically converts that to just hyphen, and then the basics with answers. And then just click on save, and it's going to save in the folder that you have mentioned. Yes, you can play with that. You can select that folder right here and then just click on save. Okay. So hopefully we have this. I have multiple tabs, 2 tabs here. We don't need 2 of them. I'm going to close this one and I'm going to get started here. Now, if you want to make it bigger, it's just, for example, I'm 39 years old. My eyes are not good as when I was 18. And I can just zoom in. Yes, I want them to be bigger. How can I zoom in? Like always on Mac with Command and plus, you can zoom in. And with Command and minus, you can zoom out. So on Windows is Control and plus, Control minus. Whenever we have Command on Mac, the equivalent on PC is just Control. Okay, now that I zoomed in, whenever you see this hashtag, that means it's a comment. So all of these lines up to here, they're all comments. Yes, Python lesson 1, the basic is comment. It's not actually a code. It's just a comment for us ourselves. So here I'm covering introduction to Python, the basics. And then I want to, for example, whenever we have a code, we want to run the code. We want to execute the code. How can we do that? How can we execute a code? So in Python, it's super easy. Just go there on that cell And then on that cell, if the cursor is on that cell, it doesn't matter. Beginning of the cell, end of the cell, middle of the cell, it doesn't matter. And then you have two different options. Either you can go right here. You see this eye with this green triangle. With that, you can run, as you can see, run selection or current line, F9. So either you can click on that or F9, you can click F9. So F9 on Mac is you gotta hold Fn button and then click on F9. And as soon as you do that, you see that Python printed hello world for us right here in the console. And then another way to do that is just clicking on this. Yes, both of them work. Both of them are equivalents. So this is the very first code that we want to run, print hello world. So the way it works, we have print, then open parentheses, inside quotation mark, whatever expression that you want. For example, next one, print Dr. Surush Azizi. Let's run it. It's printed. Next one, print Sam, print Surush. Now, whenever you see this @ sign, this is just something I do. Yes, it's not about Python. I use @ sign as the indication that it's a question for you. So you learn Python by coding, by writing codes. Yes, you're not going to learn Python just by listening to videos or by just watching videos. Yes, you have to run the codes yourself. You have to write codes yourself. It's exactly like learning how to ride a bike or drive a car. You're not going to be able to ride a bike with just listening to people tell you how to ride a bike. You gotta do it yourself. You gotta drive a car yourself until you learn how to drive a car. Yes, these are the skills that the only way you learn them is by doing them. So I urge you, please, whenever you see that this questions for you, pause the video, answer the question yourself. Yes, so right now, look at this. I have print Surush. Just rather than this, I want you to print, like, whatever is your name, just do the same thing, but rather than replace Surush by your name. Okay, hopefully I've done that correctly. All you gotta do is to just say print and then open the parentheses and then whatever is your name, let's say Sam, yes? And you can just run this and here we go, print Sam. So let's get familiar. Let's go on. In Python, you can do all sorts of algebraic equations like 5 plus 6. Here, if you run that, you can see that the result is 11. 7 times 2, the answer is 14. So look at here, whenever I run them, there's in and then out. In means input, out means output. Generally speaking, Python is not very sensitive to, in most cases, not sensitive to space when you are dealing with algebraic equations. For example, here I do 16 minus 5, but there's a space between 16 and the negative sign, and it's absolutely fine. I still get 11. 9 divided by 3 is 3. Perfect. You can use hashtag for writing a comment. Yes. So all of these are comments. This is comments. So pause the video, make a comment, write a comment. Okay. You can, so all you gotta do to just put it the hashtag sign and then write whatever comment that you want. This is a comment. Yes. Another one, pause the video, write a comment. I love Python. That's a comment too. So Python is usually not sensitive to space between operations. Like here is 5 plus 6 again, with space between them, which is totally fine. However, Python is very sensitive to indentation. Now, look at this. If I get rid of this hashtag sign, then it's not going to be comment anymore. And as soon as I get rid of that, I see this error sign. If I hover, if I bring the cursor over that, Python tells me unexpected indents. And that's a sign that's, hey, you have an error right here, unexpected indents. It's not getting started from the beginning of the line. So if you want to make it right, you have to bring it to the beginning of the line and then run it. Yes. So Python is sensitive to indentation. Next item we want to use is power. Now, power is shown with double asterisks. Yes. So 2 to power 3 is 2 times 2 times 2. The answer is going to be 8. Next one. This is a question for you. Pause the video, do this. What is, for example, do this, please. I don't know. 3 to power 5. Yes. Pause the video, do this. Okay, hopefully I've done this correctly. All you gotta do, type 3 star star 5. That's it. And the answer is 243. Okay. Next one, I have a question for you. What's the difference between following two lines? Why are we getting different answers? So let's run them and see what happens. So when I do 1 plus 2 times 5 plus 3, the first line, the answer is 24. Second one looks similar, but there's no parentheses. So if I run this, the answer would be 14, is not 24 anymore. What is happening? Why one of them, the answer is 24 and the another is 14? Pause the video, think about this, and see if you can answer this question yourself. Okay, hopefully I've got the answer. The reason that I'm getting two different answers is that in Python, like exactly like calculators, yes, parentheses is the most important thing that we have. Whenever Python sees parentheses, first it's going to calculate inside parentheses. So here I have 1 plus 2 inside parentheses. Python is going to calculate that, which is 3. And then 5 plus 3, Python is going to calculate that, so it's 8. And then 3 times 8 is 24. But here, Python is going to do this like this: 1 plus 2 times 5 plus 3. So in algebra, multiplication is prior to addition. So it's, Python is going to just do the multiplication first. So 2 times 5, which is 10. And then it's going to do the addition, like 1 plus 10 plus 3, which is 14. Okay. If you want block comments, that means you want, for example, comments that are extended over multiple lines. You can use 3 double quotation marks. Yes. For block comments, we use doctest, which is just 3 double quotation marks. Okay, next item that we have is remainder. Like 6 remainder 2 is 0. 7 remainder 2 is 1. Please pause the video and answer this question yourself. What's the remainder of 20 divided by 12? Okay, hopefully I've done this correctly. The answer would be 20 percentage sign 12. And if you run this, the answer is 8. Great. Next one, creating variables. Here, x equals 3. Let's see how it works. Yes. I want to create a variable right now. I want to create variable x, and I want to assign value 3 to variable x. I can do that with doing this. Now, as soon as I do this, as soon as I run this, In the variable explorer, a variable is created here. Look at this. Name X, type int. What does that mean? It's integer, size 1, value 3. Yes. So we assigned value 3 to variable X. Let's do another example. I want to create variable Y and assign value negative 4.3 to variable Y. Here we go. Now, name Y, type floats. Float is like this, you can have decimals in floats. And then value negative 4.3. Perfect. Now, please pause the video and create variable Z and assign value 27 to it. Okay, hopefully I've done this correctly. All you gotta do is to just say Z equals 27. That's it. Yes. And you can have space or not have space. It doesn't matter, to be honest. But yeah, I just created this variable 27. So how to assign values to variables in Python? Write the variable name on the left, as you just saw, X, Y, Z. Insert equal sign, write the value. Yes, each time, look what's happening in the variable explorer. How to ask Python to display variables? For example, one way is this, X 3, Y negative 4.3. Now here, we can see that I have X and I have Y, and then X plus Y. I can ask Python to just add them up, and then so Python tells me X3. The answer is like, for rounding purposes, it just doesn't say negative 1.2, negative 1.3, but the answer is 1.3, yes. Ask Python to display X minus Y. So all you gotta do, pause the video, do this. Super simple, just X minus Y, that's it, yes. 7.3. Yes, okay. So if you want, you can also print variables, yes? Later on, we talk about that. Variables can have more than one letter. For example, x1 equals 2, x2 equals 50. Like variable names are now more than one letter. And then I can ask Python, what is x1 times x2? And I can ask Python to print this x1 times x2. Do you spot any differences between just asking Python what is x1 times x2 and then printing that? So when you say print x1 times x2, there's no, like, this out is gone. We don't use quotation marks for variable names. Yes, this one gives you an error. Yes, cannot assign to literal. Yes, it's not gonna be. Variable names don't have to, should not have quotation marks. You can assign strings to variables. For example, I want to assign value hello, string hello to variable X. Can I do that? Obviously I can. So if I ask Python what is X, it's gonna say quotation mark hello. If I ask Python print X for me, it's gonna just, now out is gone and quotation mark is gone. So that's the difference. Yes, do you spot any differences? Yes, we do. Out is gone, quotation mark is gone. By the way, be very careful. These are totally different. Print X and then print X in quotation mark. So if I do the first one, hello is printed. The second one, just letter X is printed, yes? So why we are getting different results? Can you tell me? Think about this and think about why just print X without quotation mark gives us hello, while printing X with quotation mark prints just letter X. Okay, the reason is this. When I say print X, X is a variable which has the value hello, yes? Therefore, when I say print X, Python is going to print value hello for me. When I say print quotation mark X, Python is going to just print letter X for us, which is just right here, X, yes? So they are totally different. Okay, so remember this, variables should not have quotation marks. Okay, you can use either single quote or double quote to create strings. So like this, or like this. Use double quote to contain single quote. So sometimes you might want to have, for example, apostrophe S or whatever, and in your sentence, so Dr. Aziz's Python Bootcamp, yes. So you're gonna click contain them in double quotation mark. A few other variables that you can create, z equals 3.2. That's again floats. So far, we got to know 3 different types of variables, yes? Floats, which means they are numbers, but they have decimals. Even 5.0, like TU, variable TU is floats, because although the decimal is 0, but still we have decimal. Or F equals negative 3.6. Again, F is float. So one type of variable is float. Another is integer. Another is string, like X, that was hello. So far we know 3 different types of variables. The fourth important variable type is Booleans. Booleans, they either take value true with capital letter T and the rest lowercase, or false, capital letter F and then the rest lowercase. Yes. So for example, here I'm creating a variable called is_day, and it takes value true. So it's a Boolean. Is_day2 false. This is another Boolean. And you see, like when I'm running this, they are like a little bit different, like in bold, I don't know, purple, or yeah. So create a pause the video and do this. Create a Boolean variable that takes value true. Yes, whatever you want to name it. So I'm going to call it my BOOL, my bool equals, and then the value is going to be true. And then here I have Z. If, however, be careful. None of these are correct. You get error for each of them. It must be exactly the way that we had here. True, uppercase T, the rest lowercase. Anything like this, you can't run them. You run them, you're going to get error. Name true is not defined. Yes, or this one, you get error, or this one, you get error. Yes, so that's why. And then also you can see from this that they'll give you error. So that's why I made them as a comments, because I don't like this red sign over there. Yes, I'm gonna comment them again. So far we got to know 4 different data types. Floats, which means a number which has a decimals. Integers, just integer, int. We got string, str, like hello, and then bool, like true or false. Now, why we commented out commented out these 3 lines of the code, because if I didn't, I would get error. Can you guess the type of this variable without executing the code? The type of this, so here again, true is inside quotation mark. You run this, the type is going to be, it's not going to be Boolean, it's going to be string. Yes, look at this var right here. Type is string. Yes. In Python, you can check the type of everything with function type. So this is a function that's defined, that means something to Python. Exactly like the word print, the word type, you can check the type of each variable or each value, like type X, string, type Y, float, 5.4, float, 5.0, float, true, bool, false, bool, true enclosed in quotation mark, string, Surush, string. In Python, Booleans are, just don't ever imagine that, oh, there are only 2 of them versus other sorts of variables that we have unlimited integers, unlimited floats, or unlimited strings. Booleans are only 2. They are not that important. No, they're super important. For example, we are going to use them right here in if statements. However, before talking about this if statement, let me tell you something. Now, here, so far, all the codes that we have executed, they have been extended only on one line. They're one-liners, yes? However, if the code extends to more than one line, we cannot just execute them with F9. We have to select all the lines that we want to be executed at once, and then press F9 or click on this guy. Yes, like the following, we must select highlight, which select just means highlight, like this. Both lines, and then press F9. Here we go. I'm saying if I is greater than 5, you can see this colon as then. If 1 is greater than 5, then print Surush. So the way that Python does it is that there's a condition. If condition is met, Python is going to execute the next code. The condition right now is not met. 1 is not greater than 5. So Python is not going to do anything. However, this one, again, 2 lines, yes? And the Python does this indentation for you automatically, yes? So, for example, here, I can select this, and then if 5 is greater than 1, then print Surush. So all you gotta do is to just, for example, do this as a practice yourself. Ask Python if 8 is greater than 3, then prints your name, your first name. Yes. So pause the video now and answer this question yourself. Okay, hopefully you have done this correctly, but essentially all you gotta do is this: if, and then 8 is greater than 3, colon, then hit enter, and then just say print, and open the parentheses, and then type this. Whatever is your name, let's say Sam, and then when you want to execute that, you must click both lines at the same time, and then click on this guy, and Python prints Sam. The if must be in lowercase, and then so we have if space 8 greater than 3 condition, then colon, then after colon hit enter. Python does the indentation for you. So 1, 2, 3, 4 indentation, yes. And then just print Sam. And when you want to execute them, select both of them at the same time and run it, and you get Sam as a result. What happens if I don't select them and I just try to run them one line at a time? I'm going to get this error, indentation error, expected an indented block. So yeah, you're going to get an error. That's not what we wanted. A type of statement like this, 5 is greater than 1, that's a Boolean. So that shows the importance of Boolean. For example, here the Boolean is false. It's not going to execute this. Here the Boolean was true. Python executed this. Importance of indentation in Python. Indentation is very important. Compare these two lines of code. Yes. Number one, this. If 1 is greater than 5, then just let's run everything. Nothing is printed. Now let's do this. Hello world is printed. What's the difference between these two lines of the code? First line, so these are 3 lines. First line, the same. Second line, print Surush, the same. Third line, print hello world, but this one is indented. This one is not indented. So, and that obviously makes a difference, yes, because everything else is absolutely the same. Now, let's see what's happening. Here we are telling Python in the first code that if 1 is greater than 5, then print Surush, print hello world. Since 1 is not greater than 5, so the condition is not met, Python is not going to execute any of these two. But here, so we are telling Python if 1 is greater than 5, print hello world. Then the code is finished. You see, indentation is at the beginning of the line. The code is finished. Here we are just saying print hello world without any condition. So Python is gonna, when you run them both at the same time, Python is gonna actually print hello world. Yes, so why the result was different? Because Python treats this code as independent code. It's not in if statement. So one more example. Ask Python if 10 is greater than 3, prints your first name. Please pause the video and then do this. Okay, hopefully I've done this correctly. All you gotta do is this. If 10 is greater than 3, then prints your name. Sam, whatever is your name. And run it. And you can see Sam is printed. Perfect. Okay, let's move on. The next topic that we have is lists. In Python, we work with lists up in like not all the time, but like very, very often. List is a sequence of elements enclosed in brackets, and bracket is something like this, and separated by commas. Now, every now and then, when as I'm running and I'm executing codes and I'm making changes, I want to save my file. Yes, because if my computer shuts down or something, I don't want to lose my code. So every now and then, click on that save button and you'll be able to save your file. Perfect. So in Python, we work with lists. This is one list, yes. My list equals then 10, 20, 30, 40. So I can just run this. As soon as I run this, I see that now a variable is created here. The variable name is my_list. Type is something new. So far we had float, Boolean, strings, and integers. Now this one, the type is list. Size is, right, for this one, 4. Wow, it's not 1 anymore. Yes, for numbers it was 1. For strings it was like 4 for true, 5 for hello. But here it's 4 because we have 4 elements inside this list. If I ask Python my list, it just gives me my list. And if I ask Python to print my list, Python prints this. So there wouldn't be the out statement. And if I ask Python type of my list with type function, it tells me type is just a list. Perfect. Now, indexing. In Python, indexing is a little bit weird. What does that mean? Indexing in Python doesn't start from 1. Indexing in Python starts from 0. So here 10 is called element index 0, 20 is called element index 1, 30 is called element index 2, 40 is called element index 3. So the first element is element index 0. So if I say my list, for example, I want to extract element index 0. You mention the name of the list, then inside bracket, you say 0. So my underscore list 0 gives me number 10. My underscore list 2 gives me element index 2, which is 30. Yes. Please pause the video and answer this question. Extract the second item or item index 1 from my list. So it's going to be exactly like this. You can also copy and paste, but rather than 2, you have element index 1. So I'm going to just do this 1. Great. List allow duplicate values. You can have duplicate values inside list. So first of all, inside list, you can have different types. You can have integers, you can have floats, you can have strings, you can have booleans. You can even, as we will see later on, you can mix and match. Fruits here, banana, apple, orange, apple. And you can see that I have 2 apples and it's absolutely fine. Now, another function that we want to learn, it's very practical, is len, length. So if I say, for example, len fruits, Python is going to do this for me. 4. Why? Because it has 4 elements. Len my list is going to give me 4 as well, because there are 4 elements in it. Perfect. A list can contain different data types, so you can mix and match. In a list, you can mix different data types. A list can also include letters or words or some special characters. For example, here, take a look at this list 1. Yes, it includes number 5, letter A, H exclamation mark, string apple, number 7.6, and Boolean false. So we have integer, strings, floats, and Boolean, all the data types. Extract the second item or item index 1 from the list. So list 1, 1, and run it. And letter A will be the answer. Now, I have 2 questions for you. Extract the first item or item index 0 and extract the fourth item, item index 3 from list 1. Pause the video, answer these 2 questions. Okay, hopefully I've done these 2 questions correctly. All you gotta do is this, list 1, and then here just say 0, and then run it, and you see 5 is printed. Next one, list 1, then bracket, index 3, you run that, apple is printed. Perfect. Extract the 6th item from the list or item. So again, the 6th item is going to be item index 5. 6 item is false here and false is printed. Great. What's the item index 9 on list? If I do this, I'm going to get error. What's the error? List index out of range. So the latest item was item index 5. There's nothing after that. If there's nothing after that, if you ask list 1 and then 9, Python is going to tell you that, hey, I don't have list 1 bracket 9. There's nothing associated with that. So here we go. Lists are mutable or changeable. Yes. You can add, drop, or change their elements. For example, look at this list. 5A, H exclamation mark, Apple, 5.6, and then the word, the Boolean false. Now I can do this. First of all, I'm running this and I'm asked Python to show me list 1. Everything is fine. Now I want to add one element, letter D, to the end of this list. So the format that you add element is this list underscore name, whatever is your list name, dot keyword append. And then inside parentheses, element name. Yes. So here, all I got to do is to run this. And then if I ask Python, what is list 1 now? You see that letter D is right there. Yes. Another example, add float 7.9 to the end of the list. So all I got to do is to mention the list name, list 1, which is the name of my list, dot append, and then 7.9. Yes. Remember one more time, for strings, you need quotation mark. For numbers, you must not have a quotation mark. Yes. Now, please do this question yourself. Yes. Add number 6.1 to the end of list 1. Pause the video and answer this question. Okay. Hopefully you have done this correctly. All you gotta do is very similar to this. Yes. Say list 1 and then 6.1. Yes. You don't need a quotation mark. But if the question is this, add string, let's say Surush to the end of list 1. So now pause the video, answer this question yourself. Hopefully you have done this correctly, but the answer would be this. List 1 dot append, and then inside parentheses, you need quotation mark for Surush. Why? Because it's a string. And I can ask Python, what's list 1? And I can see that, for example, oh, I forgot to run this code. I can see that, for example, this has been added. So I forgot to run that code. I'm going to run this from beginning. Okay. Now my lists have too many items. I mean, I'm joking, obviously. Too many is like, this is not too many. However, we want to learn how to remove elements. We can delete elements based on their index with del or based on their values with remove. Sometimes we know the index, we don't know the value, or well, vice versa. So if you know the value, you can just use this. Like list 1 dot remove H exclamation mark. And then as soon as I run this, H exclamation mark is gone. Now you want to, for example, remove element index 0 or whatever index. It doesn't have to be 0, but here we go. 5 is gone. Now, as a practice, please pause the video and remove 7.9 from list 1. Okay, so all you gotta do is to say this. List 1 dot remove. Then inside parentheses, 7.9 without a quotation mark. And then ask Python, what's list 1 now? You see, 7.9 is gone. Perfect. Next thing we want to do is to change elements of the list. For example, I want to change the element index 0 from whatever it is right now, which is letter A, to number 50. All you got to do is this. Mention whatever you want to be changed. List 1, bracket 0, element index 0, equals the new value. Yes. So here, like this, and then, yeah. So the format is this, yes? The syntax is list name, and then element index, and then equal sign, and then new value. And be careful, if you're doing new value is a string, you must enclose them in quotation mark. Okay, so I have two questions for you. Change element index 1 to C. So right now, element index 1 is Apple. Change that to letter C. Number 2, extract element index 2. Okay, we can do that. Pause the video, do these questions yourself. Okay, hopefully I've done them correctly, but the answer is this. So I'm going to say list 1, bracket index 1, and then equals C. And I run it and I ask Python what's list 1, and Python tells me that now rather than Apple, I have C. So extract element index 2. We have done a few of these correct before. All I gotta do is to say list 1 and then index 2 right here, 7.6. Okay. Next one that we have is this. The insert method inserts the specified value at the specified position. The syntax is this: list name dot inserts, and then inside parentheses we need two things: position and then elements. For example, we want to insert letter B as element index 2. All I gotta do is to just list 1 dot inserts and then 2 comma B, and I run this and I see that now, like element index 0 and 1, they didn't change whatsoever. Element index 2 now is going to be B, and then the rest of them are the same as before. So as a question, as a practice, please do this. Yes. Insert banana as element index 4. Okay. And the next one, what's the output for list 1, 3 now? Okay, let's answer these two questions. Pause the video, answer them yourself. But essentially, it's going to be list 1 dot insert, and then parentheses index 4 and the word banana. And if I ask Python what is list 1, now I can see that banana is element index 4. Okay, next one, what's the output for list 1, 3 now? without running the code, yes? So 0, 1, 2, 3, 7.6. And if I want to really know, all I gotta do is to just run this, and it tells me the result, 7.6. Perfect. Okay, how to extract multiple items from a list. So in many cases, I want to extract multiple items from a list. First three items, for example, from this list. List 1, 0 to 3. If I want to do this, I'm going to just say list 1, items index 0, 1, 2, 3. I say list 1, bracket 0, colon 3. Now, very important note is this. Open bracket is always inclusive, close bracket is exclusive. Now, here when I say 0, colon 3, 0, element index 0 is included, element index 3 is not included. So when I do that, I get 50 CB. Because element index 0, 1, 2 are included, but element index 3 is not included. So if the range starts from 0, you don't have to mention 0. So the same result could be achieved with just skipping 0. Now, extract items index 1, 2, 3, 4. Yes, the answer is going to be this. List 1, bracket, 1, colon 5. So it means from 1, including 1, to 5, excluding 5. So if I do this, it's going to be CB 7.6, banana, but false is not included, yes? Because index 5 is not included right there. Now, as a practice, please do this yourself. Pause the video, extract items index 2, 3, 4, 5. Now, hopefully you have done this correctly. All you got to do is this, to just say list 1, and then 2 to 6. Again, why up to 6? Because 6 is exclusive, so it's going to be 2, 3, 4, 5. And just run that, and then you get the index 2, 3, 4, 5. Last item in the list can be retrieved with list name, then inside bracket, -1. Last two items in the list can be retrieved like this, list 1, then -2, colon. All items except first two, list 1, 2, colon. Yes. Items index 2 and afterwards are given. Items index 0 and 1 are not included here. Yes. So one more time. Opening bracket is inclusive, closing bracket is exclusive. I'm repeating this many times because it's very important. So list 1, 1, 2, 3. 1 is inclusive, 3 is exclusive. Length function is a we are familiar with len function. It's a built-in function that returns the length of an object. The length of object is the number of items it contains. Yes, the len function can be used with many different data types, such as lists, strings, tuples, dictionaries, sets, and more. We already know about lists and strings. We haven't used tuples, dictionaries, and sets. We're going to use them later on. However, here are some examples of how to use the len function. Get the length of a list, like this list, my_list, has 3 items in it. If I say len of my list, it tells me 3. Now, as a practice, please do this. Find the length of list 1. Pause the video, do this yourself. Okay, so hopefully you have done this correctly. All you got to do is this. len, open the parentheses, and then the name of this list, which is list 1. And the answer is 9. Yes. We can use the same indexing for strings. Like, let's say Variable S has the value Surush, uppercase S, O-R-O-O-S-H. I can ask Python to show me S or print S for me. And then I can just do the same indexing as I had before. Extract letter index 0, S, uppercase S. Extract letter index 1. Extract. So as a practice, please do this yourself. Extract letter R from variable S. Now pause the video and do this yourself. So the answer would be something like this. S, now you're gonna see that find the location of this R. So it's index 0, 1, 2. And then just run the code. R will be the result. Extract letter index 6. Yes, S6, that's the answer. Extract all letters from index 1 and afterwards. So not S, but anything after that. Extract all letters from index. So as a practice, please do this. Extract all letters from index 3 and afterward. Okay, hopefully you have done this correctly. The answer would be something like this. S, and then from 3 and afterwards. Perfect. Extract letters index 1 inclusive to index 4 exclusive. So 1, 2, 3. So all I got to do is that S1 colon 4. Yes, because I want 4 to be exclusive. Extract all letters from index 0 all the way to index 3. Yes, that's going to be the answer, like before. You can concatenate two strings with each other with the plus sign. So let's say SOR and OOSH. If I just run this, Python is going to give me the word Surush. You can add, for example, WA and TER and get water. Yes. Or DR dots plus Surush plus Azizi. If I run this, I see that I got Dr. Surush Azizi, but all of them it's just one string without any space. That's not what I want. I want the space, yes? So I'm going to say dr dots space plus Surush, in quotation mark, space plus Azizi. If I run that, then I see that this Dr. Surush Azizi. Okay. Concatenate first letter of Surush and the word and, so S0 and. And then can we concatenate strings and numbers? Can we like S7? Yes? No. Can only concatenate string, not integer to string. So strings can be concatenated or added together. Numbers can be added together. List can be added together. Yes, we don't have mix and match here. Can we concatenate strings and lists? Again, no. Okay, we are getting error. You can only concatenate string, not list to string. Getting the length of a string, like hello world. How many letters we have there? 13. Perfect. Okay, now I have a challenge for you. Look at this big string. What's the 35 without counting? Can you tell me what's the 35 letter in the following? So pause the video, try this. This is a little bit harder, but hopefully you can do this. So how can this be done? Copy this, and then so 35. So not 35, 34, because I want counting start from 0. If I run this, I'm going to get error. It says name blah blah is not defined. Why? Because it's a string. I need quotation mark. So I'm going to put a quotation mark here and then quotation mark here and then just run this. And then I see that letter K is the output. Yes. There's another way to create a list. You can create a list from scratch, like mine equals just open list, close list, and then open bracket, close brackets. And if you ask Python right now, what is mine, is just empty bracket, empty list. But you can add elements with append to this list. So mine.append a, mine.append 5, and then you can ask Python what is mine, and then a and 5 would be printed. You can add two lists together, like my list and list 1. You see, first three elements are from my list, and then the rest of them are from list 1. You cannot add a list to a number. So always remember this. You can add numbers together, strings together, lists together, but you can't mix and match them. If you really want to add number 5 to this list, you have to make that number 5 as a list. You can create a new list and assign my underscore list plus 5 to it. Like I'm going to call this my list 2. And then I'm going to ask Python to show me my list 2. Here we go. Or you can just modify, updates the current list. So if you want to modify it, you're going to have that's my list on the left side and on the right side, and then add that 5 to it. Yes. So this is modification of a list. So you can also do that with numbers, with many different things. Yes. For example, x equals 5, and then here I'm modifying the value of x. I'm saying x equals x plus 2. So first I'm going to run this, and then x now is going to be 7. So this is how you modify. You have that variable name on the left and on the right. Okay. Next item that we have is something called nested list, a list that includes another list. So here I have nest equals 1, 2. The third element of the list, or element index 2 of this list, is another list, which is 3 and 50. Yes. So here I ask nest, and this is the output. And then if I ask Python what's the length of this, the length is going to be 3. Why? Because this 3 and 5, they are both just one item, one object in the list. Okay, so nest 1, nest 2, and if I want to, for example, extract number 3, yes, nest 2 is itself is a list. Now, from this list, I can extract each individual element. So I'm going to say nest 2 bracket 0. That gives me 3. Okay. Let's work with this a little bit more. Another example. This is a list. I call this nest 2. Yes. If I ask Python what is next 2, Python just prints this nest 2 for me. Good. Now, guess the output of the following without running them, without executing them. So nest 2. This is nest 0, 1, 2. So it's going to be 7. Nest 2, 3. Yes. It's going to be the whole list from here to here. Nest 3, 0 is going to be 3. Nest 3, 2 is going to be a list with one element, SOR. And then I can say nest 2, 3, 2, 0 which is going to be SOR. And then I can print it. So let's just run them, make sure that everything we answered them correctly. Yes. And here we go. Now, I have a question for you to answer. Yes. Extract -2 from my nest. Yes. Pause the video, answer this question yourself. Okay, so here we have my nest. Now I'm going to say the answer would be this, my underscore nest. And then if I say, for example, 0, that would be apple. Oops. First, I got to run this and then run this apple. And if I say 1, it's going to be 2.3. If I say 2, it's going to be this list. So I'm going to say 2. And then this list is, the whole list is output. Now I want -2, so I'm going to say -2 and then not 0, but 1. Yes. And -2 is extracted. Perfect. Okay, now we have, for example, we are done with lists. I have a few questions for you. This is a given list of all the fruits. And please answer all of these questions, like 9 questions yourself. Yes. First run this and then answer these 9 questions yourself. Okay, hopefully I've done all of them correctly. Print the third item index 2 in fruit list. All you gotta do is this. So I'm gonna just copy these fruits and then paste it, like, because we're gonna fruits and then index 2. Orange is printed. Change the value of pear element index 0 to peach. So I'm going to say fruits, and then pear is element 0, and then I want that to be changed to peach. I run this, and then I ask Python to show me fruits. Yes. Okay, now, as you can see, pear is changed to peach. Good. Use the append method to add grape to the end of the list. Okay, all you gotta do is this, fruits.append inside parentheses, grape. Run that. Ask Python to show you fruits. Grape is at the end. Perfect. Use remove to remove banana from the list. Okay, so the list dot remove, and then inside parentheses, banana. And then ask Python to show you these fruits. And you see that banana is gone. Great. Use the insert method to add cucumber as item index 2 in fruit list. Okay, so I'm going to say fruits dot insert parentheses 2 comma and then cucumber. And then I'm going to ask Python to show me this list fruits. Yeah, cucumber is element index 2 now. Perfect. Use negative indexing to print the last item in the list. That's very easy. Fruits, -1. Grape. Good. Use a range of indexes to print the second and third and fourth item in the list. That's items index 1 to 3. So I'm going to say fruits, 1, all the way to 1 after the last. So 1 to 4. Yes. Next one, use a range of indexes to print the third, fourth, and fifth item in the list. So same thing, but here 2 to 5. Perfect. Use the correct syntax to print the number of items in the list. Len, open the parentheses, foods. And 6 is the answer. Okay, perfect. We are done with all the questions that we had for this lists. Next topic that we have is about dictionaries. Now, consider that this list of your 4 family members and their heights. Yes, so the list is called family height, and it includes Surush, 74, Arash, 75, Dad, 72, Mom, 66. So we can run this and see what happens. Yes. So it's a list. It works. Yes. You have family member name, height in inches. Another family member name, height in inches. However, it's not very cool. It mixes names and heights. Yes. That's not what exactly we are looking for. A better way is to use a dictionary. Now, we can easily do that to create a dictionary with curly bracket. Look at the format that we have. Like here, I call this dictionary family equals, and then curly brackets, Surush in quotation mark, colon 74, comma, Arash, colon 75, comma, Dad, colon 72, comma, Mom, colon 66. And then I can ask Python to show me family, and it shows me this dictionary. So dictionaries are used to store data values in key colon value pairs. So the format is a little bit different. Yes, a dictionary is a collection which is ordered, so the order matters, changeable or mutable, and it does not allow duplicate. A dictionary syntax is always like this: key 1 dot colon value 1, comma, key 2 colon value 2, comma, key 3 colon value 3, comma, and so on and so forth. Dictionary items are presented in key colon value pairs. We just talked about it, and can be referred to by using the key name. So let's have another example. This is a dictionary again, general dict, and then, for example, if you want to find the value for key 1, all you got to say is name of dictionary, general dict, and then inside brackets, key 1, and it gives you the value for that. Oops. Value 1, yes. To get hold of value, always we do this, dict underscore name, and then key underscore name. Yes. For example, here for the family, if I say family Surush, it gives me 74. If I want all the keys, Surush, Arash, Dad, Mom, I do this. Family.keys and family.values, it just gives me all the values. Yes, you can easily modify values in a dictionary. For example, you want to, for example, change the height for Dad to 71. So that's all you gotta do. Yes. So, yes, as a practice, please do this. Change Dad's height back to 72. Yes. So please pause the video and do this question yourself. So all you gotta do is to maybe copy and paste this and then change 71 to 72. Yes. If you do that, then now again it's 72. Yes. Okay. You can create a dictionary in Python by specifying curly brackets, and then you'll have a key, a colon, and then the value that corresponds then to a comma. Another way, so this is the way we did it. Another way to make dictionaries is starting from scratch. So remember, we did that with lists as well. We can do exactly the same thing with dictionaries. So here, for example, we start with, for example, family 2, empty curly bracket, empty dictionary. And then we add one member at a time. Family 2, Surush, 74. Family 2, Arash, 75. Family 2, Dad, 72. Family 2, Mom, 66. And then I can ask Python to show me family 2. The result is exactly like family that we had. So there's no difference whatsoever in these two methods. Another method, let's say I have this dictionary D, A, colon 3, B, colon 4.5, C, colon J. And if I ask D1, for example, B, 4.5, D1, all the keys, D1, all the values. Great, values are 3, 4.5, and letter J. Another way to create exactly the same dictionary here, D2, start from scratch and then add one member at a time, and then you get exactly same results. Now, as a practice, please answer these two questions. Create a dictionary of yourself and two family members with heights in inches using first method. Name this dictionary My Family, and then do the same thing. Use the second method, call it My Family 2, and run them, display them. They must be exactly the same. Pause the video, do these two questions. Okay, hopefully I've done both of them correctly. The answer is something like this. So my underscore family, and then we do curly brackets. Let's say we say Sam and colon 70, comma, maybe Sarah, and then colon, let's say 62, colon, let's say Judy, colon 64, and then run it. If I ask Python to display my underscore family, it's gonna just do that for me. Perfect. Now I want to use the second method to do the same thing. So I'm gonna say my underscore family 2 equals, and then I'm gonna start with curly brackets, and then one at a time. Yes, my underscore family 2, then inside quotation mark, I'm gonna say, for example, here Sam equals 70, and then each time we are going to change this. So I'm going to just copy and paste this. Oops. So next one is Sarah, and then the one after that is Judy. So here Sarah is, let's say, 62 and Judy is 64. And then if I run all of them and I ask Python what's my family 2, Python is gonna just display exactly the same thing that we had for this one. Yes. And they are absolutely equal. Perfect. To determine how many items a dictionary has, use the length function. Yes, len function. Len family 2, 4. Okay. So family 2, let's say, if you want, again, adding an item to a dictionary is done by using a new index key and assigning value to it. Yes, so a new, so you just do a new key and assign a value to it. For example, family 2, grandchild equals 44, 5. And then as soon as you do this family 2, now we have grandchild in addition to the things we had before. And if you want to remove one of them, like grandchild, you can just use dot pop. Dot pop deletes like members. Also, you can also So dot pop removes them, removes the item with specified key name. To the DL keyword removes the item with specific key name as well. For example, here, DL family to mom. And then here, mom is not in the dictionary anymore. Perfect. Sometimes you can write dictionaries in multiple lines. That's totally fine. Yes. You start the curly bracket in one line, and then each line you have, for example, one item at a time. You can do that. That's totally fine. If I ask Python to show me car, it shows me this dictionary, and then length is going to be 4. So we have brand, electric, year, colors. By the way, the values in dictionary items can be of any data type. So here, for example, for the key brand, value is string. For key electric, value is Boolean. For key year, value is integer. For key colors, value is a list. So values can be anything, yes? They can be strings, floats, Booleans, integers, and also lists. So length of car is just 4. And the type of car, it's a new type, yes, dict. So this is the 6th type of variables that we have. We had 5 before, yes, including the list and then dictionary. Car.items, if you do that, you get that return each item in dictionary as a tuple in the list. The third method too. So there's another method. We are not going to use this like that much, to be honest, but still just, I want you to hear this. SOR, for example, dict, name equals Surush. So you can use keyword dict, and then name equals Surush, age equals 39, location equals 64, single equals true. So all the keys are mentioned like this, and then equal rather than colon, we have equal, and then we have like values. So in this case, we don't use quotation mark for keys. So as a practice for this one, but the result is like before. So this is just a new way to create a dictionary. So as a practice, please pause the video and extract the value for key name. So exactly like this, but rather than age, name. I'm sure you have done this correctly. So it's going to be SOR and then quotation mark, name, lowercase, everything. Yes. And I run that, I get Surush. Perfect. Another example, extract the list of keys and values. So I have this dictionary called D, yes, same as before. Now, if I say D Surush, it gives me the value, 74. D dot keys gives me all the keys, and the D dot values gives us all the values. However, if I want all the keys as a list format, just all you got to do is to just say list, and then inside that D dot keys. So you get all of the keys as a list, and then list D dot values like this. It gives you all the values as a list. We can combine dictionaries and lists. So this is also very, for example, common to create data frames. Yes, this is super important. We are going to use this many, many times later on because this is the easiest way to create data frames. So please pay close attention. Combining dictionaries and lists. So here I have this dictionary called D, and it has key 1 and key 2, and each of them has, like, let's say 5, 6, 7 as value, and then the second key has ABU. Yes. So if I say key 1 is 5, 6, 7, and then I can, for example, get hold of number 7 if I want with this D key 1, 2. Yes. So as a practice for this dictionary, so do this. Extract number 5 and extract letter U. Okay. Pause the video, do these two questions. Okay, hopefully I've done this correctly. The answer would be something like this. So number 5 is the value for key 1. So I'm going to say D key 1. And so if I do this, it gives me this list. And if I want letter 5, number 5, it's going to be key 1 and then 0. And I run it, I get 5. Then letter U. So I need D key 2 right now. And then if I run this, I get ABU. And then if I do, for example, 2, I get just letter U. Perfect. 2 nested dictionaries. So you can have nested dictionaries. Look at this dictionary, D key 1, and then the value for key 1 itself is a dictionary. Yes, that's absolutely fine. And then inside that dictionary, we have a key, which is called inter key. And then the value for that inter key is a list, 8 and 9. So you can always mix and match dictionaries, list, everything. And then Apple 1, 2, 3, key 3. And then the value for that is a list. As a matter of fact, that's what makes Python very powerful, the flexibility. So if I say D key 1, the value is going to be this, is going to be the output. So the value is a dictionary itself. The apple, it's going to be 1, 2, 3, DK3, 46, 57. Now, as I just saw, key 1, D key 1 is a dictionary. Off the top of that dictionary, I can say D key 1 inter key, and then that gives me the list 8, 9. And then, for example, if I'm interested in number 8, I can say D key 1 inter key and then 0. If I want to, for example, extract 57, I say D key 3. So that's a dictionary, and that's the list. And then if I want 57, I just say D key 3, 1. So as always, non-numerical object must be enclosed in single or double quotation marks. What's the output for something like this? Like if you have a list and then you don't enclose one of the elements in quotation mark, you can't even run that. You can't even create a dictionary like that. Python gives you error. Yes, look at this, undefined name H. Yes. Even if you run that, you see that you get name H is not defined. So that doesn't work. You have to enclose values, strings in quotation marks. Now here I have another dictionary called car. Let's run that and let's ask Python to show me this car. So I have brand Tesla, model 3, electric, true, year 2022, colors red, white, blue. Length, we have 5 objects. And based on this dictionary, please pause the video and answer these 4 questions yourself. Okay, hopefully I've done everything correctly. Let's answer these 4 questions. Given dictionary car, what's the value for the model key of the car dictionary? So all you got to do is to say car and then model. Yes, run it, and then it's going to be 3. Change the year value from 2022 to 2024. So I'm going to say car and then year and then equals 2024. Yes, run that and then ask Python what's car, and Python gives me this. So now year is 2024. Perfect. Add the key value per range to 270 to car dictionary. So we want to do this car range equals 270. Perfect. And you can ask Python to show you car and you do that, you see that range is 270. Use the pop method to remove model from the dictionary. Okay, no problem. Car dot pop and then model. And then aspartame, what is car? And it shows you now model is not in the dictionary anymore. Perfect. Next topic that we have is about booleans, tuples, and sets. Now, first, let's talk about booleans. We use one equal sign to assign one object to another, yes? Specifically, assign a value to a variable is done like this with one equal sign. We are going to see that we use double equal sign to check whether two objects are the same or not. The output of that, when you have double equal sign, the output is going to be a Boolean. When you have single equal sign, you're assigning a value to a variable. So one equal sign and double equal sign, the result is totally different, yes? Okay, so here I have this A, like here I'm assigning value high to variable A. Here I'm assigning value low to variable B. Here I'm asking Python if A equals B. The answer would be false. Why? Because first of all, I'm not assigning value B to variable A. Second of all, I'm just asking Python if whether they're equal or not. And the answer is not that they are not equal because hi and hello are not equal. The type of this A equals B, type of this statement is a Boolean. Not equal is shown with exclamation mark equal sign. Yes, so A not equal B is true because they are not equal. And the type is still Boolean. Another example, 2 equals 2, true. Another example, here I'm assigning value SOR to variable X. Next, I'm asking Python if X equals SOR, true. Here I'm asking Python if X equals hello. The answer is false. No, it's SOR, it's not hello. 5 less than 8, true. 45 less than 0, false. One thing that we use all the time is, not all the time to be honest, but sometimes in operator. It checks whether an element is in a list or a string or not. For example, 3 in, 5, 3, and letter A. This list, the answer would be true. 42 in, 5, 3, and A, false. SOR in Dr. Surush Azizi is so handsome. True, it is. Suri in Dr. Surush Azizi is so handsome. False. Why? Because we have SOR here, but we do not have SORI here. Perfect. But that was about just a little bit about Booleans. Let's talk about tuples. Tuples are a sequence of elements in parentheses separated by commas. So they're very, very similar to lists, but rather than brackets, we have parentheses. Now, that makes a lot of difference. So here, again, you can extract, for example, the item index 0 with exactly T bracket 0. And then this is another, for example, AH negative 4. If you do T1, you get H, letter H. So far, everything is like before. However, tuples are immutable, unchangeable, like T0 equals, for example, word new. This gives us an error, yes? For lists, we could do that. For tuples, you cannot. You get a type error. Tuple object does not support item assignments, so you can't do that. Next topic that we have is a set. A set is a collection of unique elements. So they are unique. It looks same of curly bracket as dictionary, except it doesn't have the colon. Yes, so It's like, let's say, rather than parentheses, we have curly brackets, but it's just elements. We don't use them often, and it does not recognize repetition. So if you have 5, 6, 7, 7, 7, 8, it's gonna be just 5, 6, 7, 8. You can add, for example, numbers. Okay, next topic that we have is something very important called f-string, using variables in strings. So imagine we have so first of all, what does this f-string do? F-string replaces the variables enclosed in curly brackets with their values. Yes, replaces the variables enclosed in curly brackets in strings. Yes. So here, look at this. I have this print, I'm 39 years old. We want to write a sentence like this. I can do that, I can print it, but the age of the person changes every year, and we have to change the sentence every year, yes? So what's going to be the problem? So I don't want to change the whole sentence every year. I'm going to create a variable called age. I'm going to assign number 39 to that variable age. I run that. Then I'm going to say print. Rather than the same thing that I had before, I'm going to put letter F, lowercase f, before that. And then I'm going to say I am age years old. And then age will be enclosed in curly brackets. If I run this, Python is going to replace this age and the curly brackets. All of them, they'll be gone, and this 39 will be replaced. Yes. Now, if I become 40 years old in few months, run this and the same thing, I'm 40 years old. So I don't have to, for example, each time update this sentence. All I need to do is to change the age. We didn't change the main sentence. Yes, the main sentence is exactly as before. Great. Okay. What would happen without f string? So if I forgot to put the f string, Python is gonna just print this age enclosing curly brackets without replacing that with the actual number age. So that f is very essential. Now you can have multiple variables inside one sentence, yes? For example, age 39, name Surush, and then f, my name is name, and I am age years old, and Python is going to replace name with the actual name, and then age with the actual age. We can use either single quotation or double quotation. Both of them are the same. However, do not put space between f and the quotation mark like this. You'll get error. Don't do this. I have two questions for you. Please pause the video and answer these two questions. Given the variable last name equals Azizi, use f-string to print this sentence. My last name is Azizi. And then the next one is this. Given the three variables, use the f-string to print this sentence. Dr. Azizi is male and 74 inches tall. Okay. Pause the video. Please answer these two questions. Hopefully, I've done this correctly. The answer would be like this. So you put F. To be honest, I'm a little bit lazy, so I'm going to just copy and paste this sentence. And then I'm going to just replace this Azizi with curly brackets. And then inside curly bracket is going to be last name. And that's it. Oops, you gotta run this first. Yeah, when you run this, Python is going to replace this last name curly bracket with the actual Azizi. Okay, now I have 3 of them at the same time. I want the result to be this, so I'm going to just type F and then everything. I need quotation mark. Here we go. But I'm going to replace this Dr. Azizi with curly brackets and then name. And then male is going to be replaced by curly bracket and then gender. And then this 74 is going to be replaced by curly bracket and then height. Here we go. Okay, I forgot to put this space here. And here we go. Now we're good. Dr. Azizi is male and 74 inches tall. Okay. Next one, conditional statements. Yes. If statements. So we want to talk about conditional statements, for loops, while loops, multiple items all at once. So conditional statements. If statements are a powerful tool that can be used to control the flow of your program. Example 1. Here is an example of an if statement in Python. I'm saying if 5 is greater than 3, prints 5 is greater than 3. We have seen these things before, yes? Since the code has been extended over one line, you want to run this, you have to select everything, highlight everything, and then run them all at once. So I've selected everything, and then I'm going to run them, and 5 is greater than 3 will be printed. So what is going on here? So it's going, the thing that's going on is that 5 is greater than 3 is correct. It's a true statement. So since it's a true statement, then here this will be executed. Print 5 is greater than 3. Okay, the code will print 5 is greater than 3 to the console because the condition 5 is greater than 3 evaluates to true. Another example, we can have if and else. Yes, let's select all 4 lines, run them all together. Now, what's printed? First of all, 5 is not less than 3, which is this one. Now, the way it works, Python reads from the beginning. So this is a if-else statement. Python is going to read from the beginning. The very first thing that's true, Python is going to execute the statement that we want, yes? The statement that comes after then. So again, you can imagine or can deal with this like colon as then. So we are saying if 5 is less than 3, then prints 5 is less than 3. Obviously, 5 is not less than 3. Therefore, this is not met. Then else will be correct, and then this will be printed. So this code will print 5 is not less than 3 to the console because the condition 5 is less than 3 evaluates to false. Let's keep going. We can have if, else if, or elif, and then else. Yes. You can also use elif statement to check multiple conditions. Here's an example. If 5 is greater than 3, colon, print 5 is greater than 3. First, elif, which just stands for else if. 5 equals 3 if they are equal each other. Print 5 is equal to 3. Else print 5 is not greater than 3 and not equal to 3. So you select everything and then you run them. 5 is greater than 3 is printed because the first condition is met. Again, very important thing is that Python reads them from beginning, from top to bottom. As soon as one condition is met, Python is going to execute that line. It's not going to even read the rest of it. Yes, Python is not going to read this elif or else because the first one is executed. Yes. Uh, we can have as many as elif as we want. Another example, x equals 1, and then if x is greater than 5, print Surush, else print no. Obviously, no will be printed right here. Yes. Now, different signs that we want to learn is this: less than or equal to, greater than or equal to, and not equal to. Yes. Example, make an if statement about age. If the variable age is greater than or equal to 18, it prints adult, otherwise prints child. So each age is 32, and then just run all these 4 lines together, and you can see that adult is printed because the first one is correct. Okay, now pause the video right now and then answer these 2 questions yourself. Question number 1, so we're given A and B. If A is greater than B, then print hello world. So all you gotta do is say if is greater than B, then print hello world. Super easy, yes? Make sure before going forward, make sure that you know how to do this. Otherwise, it's gonna be harder. Next one, write a code that if temp is greater than 70, then it prints warm, else it prints cold. So temp is right now, for example, 60. Let's do this. So we have if and elif. So I'm gonna do this. If temp is greater than 70, then print warm. Else colon prints cold. Okay, first I'm gonna run this code. And then this. So I can see that cold is printed. Why? Because temp is 60. 60 is not greater than 70, so this is not executed. Next one is executed. Now we can have multiple elifs, yes? So let's do this. For example, conditional statement, if 1 is greater than 5, then print Surush, elif 3 equals 3, not bad, elif 4 equals 4, you can do better, else print no. Let's see if I select everything and run them. That's 8 lines of code. What's going to be the result? Not bad. Why? So Python is going to read from the beginning. First one, 1 is greater than 5 is not met. It's going to jump this. Next one, elif 3 equals 3. That's met. Python is not going to even read the rest of them. It's going to just execute this print not bad. As soon as Python executes one of them, it's going to jump like from the rest of them. Okay, now pause the video and answer this question. If total is greater than or equal 90, print awesome. If total is greater than or equal 70 and less than 90, print fair. If total is less than 70, print bad. So hopefully you have done this correctly. But so we're gonna start if total is greater than or equal 90, then print awesome. Then elif total is greater than or equal 70, colon, prints. Just, we don't have to say less than 90, yes? Because again, if Python is already in elif, it means it checked this condition, it's not met, so it's less than 90. We know that. We don't have to mention if this is greater than 70, but less than 90. No, we don't need to do that. And else, print fat. Select everything. Oops, forgot to run this total. And then select everything. And then run this. Perfect. Okay, next topic that we have is a for and while loop. Now imagine we have for example, a list of 5 items, 1, 24, 39, -4, 65. I can say for item in this list, SEQ sequence, print item. So I have to select everything, then just run it. Then it's going to run one item at a time. So that's a for loop. Yes. So we have for loop and we have a while loop. So we just did one for loop. Let's talk about while loop. For example, here I'm saying I equals 1. And then while I is less than 5, print F string, I is I. And then this I would be replaced by the actual value of I. And then at the end of this, I will be added 1 at a time. So if I run this, I is 1, I is 2, I is 3, I is 4 will be printed. So what's the logic here? Python is going to start from I equals 1. So when I equals 1, Python is going to check this condition. Is 1 less than 5? Yes. So it's going to do this. Print F is I is I, yes, which is I is 1. And then I will be 1 plus 1, which is 2. And then it's going to check this condition true. It's going to type I is 2. Then I would be 3. 3 is still less than 4. It's going to type us I is 3. Then I is would be 3 plus 1, 4. Still I is less than 5 is correct. It's going to print this I is 4. Next I would be 4 plus 1, 5. Check this, Python checks this condition is not met anymore. It's not going to execute this. Ends the loop. Yes. So this is a loop. First of all, sometimes students forget to do this I plus 1. If you do forget this, so let me set the I, for example, one more time to 1. And then delete this I. So for while you have to increase the counter. If I do this, let's see what happens. Python is just keep printing this I is 1, I is 1, because at the end, I will not be added, like I will not be converted to 2. We got rid of that I. So look at like how many, like maybe thousands of. So you want to break this loop. There's this red button right here. If you click on that, it breaks the loop. But yeah, if you forget this I equals I plus 1, it's going to be infinite loop that you don't want to do. Okay, next we have, for example, this loop of fruits, pear, banana, orange, and banana again. Nothing wrong with that. And then I equals 0. And then length of fruits, 4. I say while I is less than length of fruit. So length of fruit was 4. So while I is less than 4. Print fruits bracket I. So 0, 1, 2, 3. It's going to print pear, then banana, then orange, then banana. Each time then we say I is I plus 1. So in this format, you can print all the elements of a list one at a time. Some authors use this notation, I plus equal 1, which is exactly the same as I equals I plus 1. Now, let me introduce you to a function, important function called range. Range is, the syntax is something like this. 3 S's, start, stop, step. Step by default is 1, start is inclusive, stop is exclusive. Imagine something like this, range 2 and 20 and 3. And if you run it, nothing will happen. But if you ask to list of that range, that we usually do that, it tells you 2, 5, 8, 11, 14, 17. So Python starts counting from 2, and each time it goes up 3 units. So 2 and 3, 5, 5 and 3, 8, 8 and 3, 11, 11 and 3, 14, 14 and 3, 17. Then it's gonna start right before 20. So it's not gonna include this one. Again, first one is inclusive, second one is exclusive. So 20 will not be included. So therefore the highest is 17. Yes. Now, if you want the same thing but increments by 1, you can just say list range 20 comma 2, list in parentheses range in parentheses 2 comma 20 comma 1. So now increment is going to be 1. Or if the step or increment is 1, you don't even have to mention that. You can just ignore that part. Yes. Now, for example, let's do a few examples here. Create a list of range of numbers 2 to 8. Yes. Here we go. Now, as an example, for example, do this. Create a list of all 2-digit numbers. That's one question for you. I have one more question for you as well. Then create a list of all, let's say, odd 2-digit numbers. Yes. Please pause the video and answer these 2 questions yourself. Okay, hopefully I've done this correctly. So all 2-digit numbers, that's easier. I'm going to start from that. So I'm going to say list, range, and then start from 10, stop at 100. Again, start is inclusive, stop is exclusive. And then increment is 1. I can mention it or not mention it. And then that's going to be my list. Yes. Okay. Now, next one, create a list of all 2-digit numbers of all odd 2-digit. So odd means I'm going to start from 11. And then I want to go by 2 because I want only the odd numbers. So yeah, right there, I get 11, 13, 15 so far. Yes. Perfect. Okay, create a list of square of numbers 2 to 8. Now, this is an interesting question. So we just did all the numbers 2 to 8 right here. Yes, remember this X? Now, I can say this. I can create an empty list. Out equals empty. And then I can say for num in X. Again, remember what was X? X was numbers 2 to 8. For num in X, out dot append num star 2. So star 2 means num to power 2, which means square. Each time it's gonna append that to this. So if I run this, it's gonna just 2 to power 2 is 2 squared is 4, 3 squared is 9, 4 squared is 16, 5 squared 25, 6 squared is 36, 7 squared is 49, 8 squared is 64. So it just did everything for us. Yes. Now I have a few questions for you, 5 questions for you. Please pause the video and answer these 5 questions yourself. Yes. Okay. Hopefully I've done everything correctly. Question number 1. Print I as long as I is less than 7. Yes. So I can use a while loop. While I is less than 7, then print I. And then I equals I plus 1. So here we go. Next one. Given the following list, use the while loop to print all items one at a time. So it's going to be exactly like this example we had over here. Yes. It's not going to be any different. So we are going to say, first of all, run this. But while I is less than length of, so first you gotta run this cars. So length of cars is 4. By the way, you can always select a part of your code. For example, here I highlighted length of cars, and then you run it, and then Python executes only that part. It's not going to execute the whole line. So you can highlight a part of the code and run just that part. That always works. So while I is less than length of cars, then prints cars element I, index I. And then I equals I plus 1. Run this. And you see, yeah, Tesla, Ford, Honda, Toyota. They're all printed. Good. Question 3. Given the following list, use while loop to print first 3 items at a time, one at a time. So we don't want to go all the way to the last one. So I'm going to say maybe, so rather than I, we want to use, let's say N. So I'm going to say while N is less than, so first 3 items. So 0, 1, 2 is good, less than 3. Then you gotta run these colors as well. Yes. Prints colors, then N. Then just run it. Oops. You see, I made that mistake. I forgot this I plus 1. First, you gotta interrupt this. Then just do this. And then run it. Oh, I did another mistake. Here my counter is N. I said N I equals I plus 1. That's not good. I'm gonna interrupt that one more time. I'm gonna say N, And then I'm going to say N here as well. And hopefully now it's good. Yes, red, blue, black. They are printed. Good. Question number 4. Using the range, create a list of numbers 1 to 10 inclusive. Call it my numbers. So I'm going to say my numbers equals list range. So we said 1 to 11, yes. And then increment is 1. We don't have to mention that because that's the default. I'm going to ask Python what is my numbers. Yes, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Then use the list my numbers to create a list of cubic of numbers 1 to 10. So this is going to be very similar to what we had right here, yes? So rather than square, it's going to be cubic. So, however, for num, not in X, but in my numbers. Here we go. 8, 1, 8, 27, 64, 125, 216, 3, 4, 3, 512, 729, 1000. So for num in my numbers, what is my numbers? This is the list of my numbers. So each time it's gonna loop, it's gonna go like one of them. So this is a for loop, yes, 1, 2, 3, and then until the last item in my numbers, out.append num, which is a number right here, cubic, and then it adds it to the empty list. So at the beginning, the list is empty. So you add one item at a time until the last element, and then you are done and you can print it, and this will be printed in a very good way. Awesome. That was about for loop and while loop and the range function. And okay, let's move on to the next topic that we have. And next topic that we have is about functions, lambda, map, filter, and method. Functions. A function is a block of code which only runs when it's called. You can pass data known as parameters into a function. A function returns data as a result. And we're going to create a few functions here. Creating function in Python, a function is defined using the def keyword. So let's have a few examples. Example 1, create a function that inputs a name and prints hi name. Call the function unnamed Surush. So I'm going to start with this, def, then space, then the name of the function. The name of the function is arbitrary. You can call it, I don't know, my func, you can call it greeting, you can call it whatever you want. Yes. So here, def my func, then inside parentheses x. X is your input, what you want to put inside the function. Colon, then hit enter, and then print hi space plus x. X is the name of the person. So if I, first of all, when you want to run a function, because the code is extended over multiple lines, select all of them and then run it. And then if I say, for example, my func, call it on Surush, is going to print hi Surush. If I do that on Sarah, is going to be hi Sarah. Now call my func on name Jenny. So pause the video, call, so don't create the function, just call the function on name Jenny. Okay, hopefully you have done this correctly. All you gotta do is to just say my underscore func, and then Jenny. That's it. And you run this, hi Jenny will be printed. Now, so always start with DEF, then the name of the function, then inside parentheses, input or inputs, and then colon, and then whatever you want to be printed or be returned or whatever, yes? Let's have another example. Create a function, name it myfunc2, that needs two arguments, n1 and n2, and returns their sum. So it's going to be as easy as this. DEF myfunc2 in parentheses n1 comma n2. So you separate all the arguments with comma, then colon, and then return n1 and n2. So if I say myfunc2 and 5, 7 is returned. Myfunc2 only 9. What happens there? I'm going to get error. It says myfunc2 missing one required positional argument n2. Python is telling us, hey, you just gave me one argument. You just gave me one input. Give me more. I need that second input. If I say, for example, myfunc2 3 and 8, it's going to return 11. Now, please pause the video and answer these two questions. Write a function, name your function myMults, that needs two arguments, x and y, and returns their multiplication. Next part, next question, execute myMults on 5 and 6 and also 7 and 8. Okay, pause the video now and do these two questions yourself. Okay, hopefully you have done these two questions correctly. First one, I'm going to start with DEF, yes? So don't even think about it, DEF, space. Then the name of the function. The name of the function, myMults. Then open the parentheses, input all the arguments or inputs. Write that, type all the inputs, x, comma, y. Then put a colon and then say, so here, say return, and then what do you want to be returned? X times y. Yeah, that's it. That's the function. And then next part is that call this function my underscore mults and on 5 and 6. So if I do that, it should be 30. Next one, try it on. So this is called calling function or running function. 7 and 8. Here we go, 56. Great. So something that in algebra we can use is absolute value. Absolute value is an operator. If input is a negative number, it becomes positive. If it is positive, it stays positive. If it is 0, it stays 0. So it just, whenever input is a negative number, it makes the same number in value, but positive. Now, knowing that, please answer these two questions. Write a function, name it my underscore diff. Yes, my underscore diff. That takes two arguments, let's say again, x and y, and returns absolute value of first argument minus second argument. Execute my diff on 5 and 6 and also 1 and 8. Pause the video, answer this question now. Okay, hopefully I've done this correctly. DEF space name of the function, my underscore diff, and then x and y. You should be able to at least do up to here. and then return an ABS of X minus Y. That's it. Run this. Then call it on 5 and 6. So 5 minus 6 is -1, and then the 10 would be +1. My diff 1 and 8. The answer is 7. Perfect. Example 3. Create a function called classify that takes one variable temp. If temp is greater than 85, return hot. If temp is less than or equal 85, but greater than 50, returns normal, otherwise returns cold. Try it on 64, 90, 30. Okay, I'm going to do this. DEF classify temp. If temp is greater than 85, return hot. Elif, again, here I don't have to mention less than or equal, because if you are in this line, it means you already, this one was not true. Temp is greater than 50, colon, return normal, else return cold. So here function is included, like inside the function, we have if, elif, else statements. Run all of that together and then classify. 64 should be normal, yes, normal. 90 should be hot. 30 should be cold. Awesome, we did everything correctly. Notes, not all functions need arguments. Sometimes a function can just have 0 arguments. You run that function every time, it's gonna print something like this. Hello from Surush. Yes, my function, hello from Surush. But almost all functions have arguments, yes. Next one, def my func3 name. Inside functions, you can have comments. You can have, for example, group comments. You can have block comments. Block comments, as you remember, they can be created with 3 double quotation marks, yes. So that's one way that, for example, you want to write a comment inside a function, that easily you can do that, yes. And in many cases, like you're working in project with other people, and then later on, like you want them to be able to understand what's going on, so you make this as just a function, as a comment, yes. You can make a one-line comment with hashtag or like multiple lines. For example, this function, we can just run everything. And then, so it's just one argument, and whatever it is, it just says hello, and then that name. Hello, Surush, yes. Perfect. Now, I'm gonna have a question for you. So this question is very similar to this example, yes. So create a function, name it classification, that takes one variable, age. If age is greater than 75, returns all, less than or equal to 75, but greater than 40, returns middle age. It's less than 40, but greater than 17, returns young. 17 or less, returns minor. Run the function on 85, 70, 40, 22, and 6. Perfect. Pause the video, answer this question yourself. Okay, hopefully I've done this correctly, and let's do it right now. So we're going to start with DEF. The function name is classification. I'm just too lazy. I'm going to copy and paste. Classification takes only one argument, age. So age. By the way, these are variables. You should not include these variables in quotation mark. And then, so it says if age is greater than 75, colon, another inter. So you see each inter that we are doing, or like here as well, Each inter gives you another, for example, indentation, another 4 characters indentation. If age is greater than 75, return old. Yes. So very similar to this, whatever we had over there. Then elif age is greater than 40, colon, return here, middle age. One more time. elif age is greater than 17, return young. Else, for else you don't have to mention any criteria. Return minor. Perfect. Now that's the function. Run this function and then call it on these things. So I'm going to say classification, parentheses, and then I'm going to just do it 5 times and then put the numbers inside. 3, 4, 5, and then one of them is 85, then is 70, then it's 40, then it's 22, then it's 6, and then just run them. Old, 85 old, 70 is middle age, because the cutoff was 75, yes? Yes. 40 young, 22 young, 6 minor. Perfect. That means we did everything correctly. Awesome. Next topic that we have, and we are not going to use lambda that much, but still I want to just, I want you to hear about it. Lambda is similar to function, but used for simple functions. So if you have a simple function, you can do this. Syntax is lambda arguments, colon expression. The expression is executed and the result is returned. For example, x equals lambda a comma b, colon a plus b. So for example, if I run this and then I say x of 2 and 5, then 7 is returned, or x of 5 and 7, 12 is returned. Yes. So this is lambda. We are going to mostly use function. So this is equivalent to that function that we have n1 plus n2. Okay, next important topic is maps. Use maps to apply the given function to each item of a given iterable, list, tuple, etc. What is going on here? So first of all, the syntax is something like this. Syntax map, M-A-P, inside parentheses, we need 2 arguments. Function, the name of the function, comma, iterable. Iterable, just imagine is a list. Imagine is a tuple, whatever, yes? Parameters function is a function to which map passes each element of a given iterable. Iterable, it's a iterable which is to be mapped, yes? Like, again, just imagine list or tuple. Okay, so like you remember the len function? Now imagine we have this function, df myfunc n, return length of n. So it takes an argument and it returns length of that. So in myfunc apple returns 5. Now, so essentially, you can do that, like, let's say myfunc on multiple things, But sometimes you don't want to do it like 5 times, 3 times, yes? So you want to, for example, do something like this. Or to be honest, 4, 5. So rather than calling this, let's say 3 times, so I could do this, my func, let's say, rather than doing this, to just call this 3 times, and then each time once for Jack, another one Jamie, another one Surush, which it gives me 4, 5, 7. You can create this variable, or you can just create this variable and then do this print x. Usually just printing x is not useful. We do just list. So the general format is this. The syntax that we want to use is something like this. List, then map, then inside map, something like this. And it gives you 4 and 5 and 7. Yes. So it just makes our life easier. Yes. It just when you do this, you don't have to run it 3 times. Yes. Rather than running that 3 times, you can just do this, or even better than this. So here, essentially, we are creating X and then we are saying list of X. Even better than that is to just say list and then map, and then inside map my func, and then Jack, Jamie, Surush. Yes. Another example. Let's say we have this function called times 3. Now, it takes one argument, it multiplies that by 3. Yes, var times 3. I'm going to run this function, and then I'm going to call it on 1. So just look what happens. 1 becomes 3, 20, 60. Oops. -3, -9, 7, 21. Now, rather than that, instead, we can do this. It's just easier to do this. First, create this, for example, sequence, whatever you want to call this list, 1, 20, -3, and 7. And then just say list map function name, list name. Here we go. Rather than calling that 4 times, just make them a list and then say list map times 3 and then the name of this list that you have. Yes. Another example. So a function that checks whether a number is less than 18 or not. That function is called myfunc. If x is less than 18, return false, else return true. Ages are these. Now I can just run this myfunc each time on each object, or I can just say list map, then name of function, myfunc, comma, name of list, ages. So the format here is this. Yes, the syntax is this. I'm going to write the syntax over here. Syntax is list, then map, and then function name, comma, list name. Yes, this is the format that we have, syntax that we have. List, map, myfunc, ages, and it gives you false, 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 true, true, true. So all of these are under 18. These are 18 and above. Then perfect. So this is the format that we have. Now, do this yourself. Write a function, name it +10, that takes one argument x and returns x plus 10. Call it on 4, 7, -3. Then map +10 to the following list. Yes. So here, pause the video, do this question yourself. So I'm gonna say def, name of the function, +10. I'm sure by now you know how to do this. One argument x, colon, return x plus 10. Okay, that's my function. And then I will call it on, let's say, I'm going to copy and paste this, 4, and then 7, and then -3. Yes. So if I run this, I get 14, run this, 17, run this, 7. But, and also 0, 15, 8, 9. But rather than that, you can just do this and then use that syntax list, map, name of function, name of list. Name of function is +10. Name of list is nums. Boom. You see how easy it is? So rather than calling that on, for example, so many numbers. So here I asked you, let's just call it on even more numbers. Yes. Call it on everything. So it's going to be frustrating if you want to call it, for example, many times. Yes. But, oops. But rather than calling that, for example, so many times, you can just make a list and then just run that on the list. So 0, 15, 8, and then last one, 19. So rather than calling this 7 times, we could just do this. It's much easier. Okay, that's about map. Next subject that we have is filter. Filter returns an iterator where items are filtered through a function to test if the item is accepted or not. The syntax is very similar than before. So essentially, filter, function, iterable, and then we want it as usually as a list. So it's going to be list. Just the only thing that's different is this: list, filter, myfunc, and then the list name. Yes. So the syntax is usually like this. So I say iterable rather than list because it can be, technically it can be tuple as well. It doesn't have to be a list, but usually we focus on a list. Yes. So here, imagine we have this ages 5, 12, 17, 18, 24, 32 that we had it, I think, yeah, somewhere right here. Yes, example 3. So here we have that. And then I have this function, if x is greater than less than 18, return false, else return true. So if I filter this, it only gives me the values that they return true. It's gonna weed out, it's gonna filter out 5 and 12 and 17 because they are false. It's going to only pass. So the syntax is essentially something like this. Yes, syntax is going to be always list and then filter and then function name and then iterable name, or I'm going to just call it list name because we mostly focus on list names. But yeah, this is the format that you have. And it filters out only the observations that they fulfill the criteria. Okay. Now, write a function, name it div3, div3, that takes an integer. If it is divisible by 3, returns true, and otherwise returns false. Call it on 1, 2, 3, 5, 1, 3, 5, let's say 6, 8, 9. Yes, call it on all of these numbers. And then map it to the following list, and then filter all elements of this list, which are divisible by 3. So we have 4 different parts in this question. This is a very good question. It summarizes function, it summarizes map, it summarizes filter, it summarizes calling the functions. Please spend some time on this. Make sure that you can answer this question, and then I will solve it for you. So pause the video, solve it now. Okay. Hopefully I've done this correctly. DEF, call the function div3, and then it takes one integer. Let's call it that n colon. So if it is divisible by 3, returns true. So if n divisible by 3, remember that from beginning of the course, divisible by 3 equal remainder by 3 equals 0. That means that's divisible by 3, yes? Return true. And if n remainder 3 not equal, I could just say else. Return false. Yes. So run this function. Call it on these numbers. div3 parentheses. I'm gonna paste that 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then 1, 3, 5, 6, 8, 9. So this one false, 3 true, 5 false, 6 true, 8 false, 9 true. Now, this list is, we have this list. So the format was this: list, map, function name, div3, list name, nums. Boom, false, true, false, true, false, true, rather than doing that 6 times just with one line. Filter all elements of this which are divisible by 3. Yes. So all elements of this which are divisible by 3. So all you gotta do is list and then filter. Div3 nums. Oops, I have a typo there. Run it. You see 369 are returned. Perfect. Okay, let's move on to the next subject, methods. Yes. Imagine we have something like this. A string like, hello, my name is Surush, hashtag handsome. Yes, that's a string. We assign that value to variable s, and we can see that, for example, s is this, hello, my name is Surush, hashtag handsome. And then, for example, as you remember, I can, for example, say s2, that's going to be letter L. Again, counting starts from 0, so S0 is H, S1 is E, S2 is L, 1 to 10. So the first one is inclusive, so from LO. Second one is exclusive. And then, now we have some different methods. For example, S dot lower makes everything in lowercase. S dot upper makes everything in uppercase. S dot splits, which is very important, and we want to focus on that, splits the string to, let's say, words. Split by what? Split by space. But it converts a sentence to a list. So converts a sentence to a list. Default is space, so it separates them. All items in the list are like here. Whenever it sees a space, it's going to be a new, let's say, item in the list. The separation can be with other things. For example, with hashtag, s.split hashtag. Then it's going to be a list of 2 items. Hello, my name is Surush is 1, and then handsome is another. So it splits everything before hashtag and after hashtag. The hashtag itself is not going to be in the list. So with splits, you can convert a sentence to a list. Defaults for the conversion for different items is space, but you can overwrite the defaults. For example, if you want the default to be hashtag, all you gotta do is to put quotation mark and then hashtag, and then Python just does everything before that and after that. Yes. If you, for example, you want the word handsome, only this one, you can just say, so this is a list. Yes, this is just a list. You want the second item in the list, so you can say s.split hashtag bracket 1, and you get the word handsome. Yes. Now, do this. Assign your email address to variable my email. Use splits at $sign. Use split at the @ to extract your ID from it. Okay. Let's say somebody's email is, I don't know, handsome@gmail.com. Now, ID is going to be just handsome, yes? So, assign that to variable my email. First of all, we do need quotation mark. Okay. Now, we have that my email. And if I ask Python what is my email, Python gives me this. Yes. Now, for example, I want the ID. The ID is everything before @. So I'm gonna do this. My email dot split inside parentheses, inside quotation mark, @. Let's see what happens. Let's just run this. So I get handsome and then gmail.com. So I want the ID. I'm going to say bracket 0. Boom. I got the word handsome or the ID here. Note the similarity and difference between methods and functions. Yes, these are functions like type 35, integer, len, abcd, 4. And these are methods. Yes, let's say upper, lower. Yes, that's split, adds, and everything. These are, so for methods, we have first some object, and then we have the method. For function, we have the function name, like type or length, and then we have something here. Okay. Thank you very much, everybody, for listening.